So we did parallel to start on Friday. Today we're going to focus on how we take what we learned with the parallel stuff and put it into an equation with the perpendicular concept, okay? So here's what it's going to say. This is like example 3. And this is the only type of example we're even doing. But it's going to say this. Write an equation for the line through the point 2, 4 and perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x minus 1. Okay, so this is the only type of question we are focusing on today. Now, some of your homework will be a little bit of review just because I want to make sure that you're good with all the 5, 6A stuff also. No, I don't know how many, but I've definitely drastically, you guys scored, let me tell you. I've cut way back.
Wait, are the tests bad?
There's 11 problems. Are the tests bad?
Yeah.
Oh, the quizzes? I'm not done with them yet.
Oh,
I only did one side. The one side was pretty good for the most part. Some of them were, yeah, they were all right.
Do you know what done?
No, I don't. We'll see. Okay, so here's what you're doing. Note what the focus is here. They're saying write an equation, so your answer is an equation, for the line that goes through this point and is perpendicular to that line, okay? So we're going to write this in slope-intercept form again. Y equals mx plus b is what we want. If I want to be perpendicular to this line, what am I using from that equation? The slope, okay? So what is your current slope? 1/3. So if my slope right now is 1/3 and I want the perpendicular slope to that, what do I have to do to 1/3 to make it the perpendicular slope?
I'll make it
Opposite reciprocal, okay? So what is the opposite reciprocal of 1/3? -3, right? Flip it over, so it's 3/1. It's positive, so make it negative. So -1/3 is the slope you're going to use, okay? You don't want to use the 1/3 anymore. Then the point that they gave us was 2, 4, which means this is my x and this is my y. So I'm just taking those values and I'm plugging it into y equals mx plus b. So what is y? What's going to go here? That's the 4. What's m? That's the -3. What's x? X is 2. That's this one. And then plus b. Okay? And then you just simplify. So 4 equals, this would be a -6 plus b. How do I get rid of that -6? You add 6 to both sides. So add 6 here, add 6 here, and you get 10 equals b. Okay, so I have an m and I have a b, and I need to put it into y equals mx plus b. So this number, this 10, is going to go here. The 3 is going to go there, right? So what does that equation look like? Y equals -3 times x plus 10. Okay, so this is your answer. Okay, so very similar to what we did yesterday or over the weekend. It's just that now it's perpendicular. Now you need the opposite reciprocal slope instead. Okay? One more of those. Let's say we want to go through the point. I'm not going to write the whole question out. I'm just going to write the key parts since you've seen how it's worded. So we want to go through the point 1, 8 and perpendicular to y equals 2x plus 1. Okay, and I'm actually going to show you this in two different forms. I'm going to show you slope-intercept, and I'm going to show you point-slope, just so you can see that they are both doable. And I really don't care which one you do, unless on the quiz or test I say put it into this form. Then you got to make sure you put it into that form. But for the homework, you could try a little bit of both if you want to see which one you're more comfortable with. Okay, so if we're going through, excuse me, 1-8, what variables are going to go with those? God bless you. That's your x and your y, okay? And then perpendicular to this means what? Opposite reciprocal of what? Which is 2, right? So right now your slope is 2. We want the perpendicular slope, which is the opposite reciprocal. So if 2 is my slope, what's the opposite reciprocal of 2? Negative 1/2. Okay, so we're using this, not this, okay? And we're going through this point. So let's try point-slope form, right? We have a point and we have a slope. So that would be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, actually, let's do that 1 second. I don't want to throw you off. Let's do slope-intercept, okay? So we have our x and our y. So this one we're going to put into y equals mx plus b. What's y?
8.
That's the 8. What's m? Negative 1/2. What's x?
1.
X is the 1 up top, right? This guy here. And then plus b. Okay, so if we simplify that, 8 equals negative 1/2 plus b. How do I move that 1/2 over? You're going to add it. It's a negative, so add it. Okay, so I get 8 plus 1/2 is 8.5 for my b. So if I plug that into y equals mx plus b, what does it look like?
8 equals
Y. You want the y and the x backs. Back. Negative 1/2 is your slope, right? Times x. Then what?
plus 8.
Plus 8.5 plus your b. Okay, so this would be slope-intercept form. Okay, slope-intercept. Let's try the same set of numbers, but in point-slope form. So you have your x and your y. Right, here's your x, here's your y. So it's going to be y minus what? What's your y value?
8.
The 8 equals your new slope, negative 1/2, times x minus what? Can't hardly see. Your x value, which was 1, okay? So if you're going to put it into point-slope form, it's going to look like that. If you're putting it into slope-intercept form, it looks like this. Those are the same line. They look different because they're in a different form, but they really are the same line, okay? Any questions on that?
No.
That's the whole thing,
Oh.
okay?